Dear students, good morning. Let's start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 12th April 2018. The first article, Heat the Federal Framework. This article is about financial devolution between the center and the states. You know that under Article 270, whatever the taxes received by the center, these have to be shared with the states. So it talks about divisible pool of taxes. And next, an institutional mechanism was created under Article 280 for this purpose, which is called Finance Commission. And Article 275 talks about grants which Finance Commission can recommend for. So, in this scenario, let us see the division of responsibilities and money power between the center and the states. All revenue generating taxes are in the list of the union, and all developmental responsibilities, these are with the states. So the revenue and developmental responsibilities are unequally distributed between the center and the states. So because of this, we have a challenge. The states have to depend upon the center for their financial needs, and center has to depend upon the states to achieve the necessary developmental progress. This mutual interdependency was created consciously by our constitutional forefathers to ensure unity and also to provide for the necessary flexibility for expression of diversity. So now, what are the issues? Union government, while appointing the Finance Commission, it can give the terms of reference to Finance Commission. So the states accuse that Union government is trying to influence the Finance Commission through its terms of reference. The first issue is vertical devolution of the taxes. What do we mean by this? From the center to the states, how much percentage have to be devolved? Here, 14th Finance Commission has raised it from 30 to 42%. Now the center argue that most of my finances are being shared with the states, so I cannot make for more devolutions. And the states argue that their developmental responsibilities have increased, they need further devolution. And the states also argue that there is no reduction in the center's finances because though the devolution of taxes have increased, compensatory reduction has happened with regard to central sponsored schemes. So that's why the net effect of greater devolution is zero. Coming to vertical devolution, horizontal devolution, the money has to be divided between the states. So in this scenario, highly populated states are going to get the greater revenue because population was given highest weightage among the criteria. So again, another issue. Previously, 1971 census were taken into consideration. After 1971, there was stabilization of population gradually in most of the southern states. But in UP, Bihar, Rajasthan, in these states, population growth was still remarkable. So, because of greater development and population demographic indices achieved by southern states is making them vulnerable with reduced tax flows. And coming to the thing above it, in the case of UP, Bihar, as they fail to control the population, they are getting the greater revenue. This is what is southern states are feeling. And there is another aspect to it. As demography is stabilized, the young population is decreased and world population is increasing in the southern states. As world population is increasing, dependency ratio will increase. Increase in dependence ratio will cost more to the state government for health, various other benefits to the society. So in this context, southern states want a greater devolution rather than decreased devolution. Then if 2011 population is taken into consideration, it will not happen to them. And coming to terms of references, the union, it feels that the states are going out of bounds with populistic measures and fiscal deficit is not within the limit. It has stated fiscal management, identifying the populist programs, and developing certain criteria to incentivize the best performing states, etc., are being recommended, are being requested. So, what the states argue is either it is a populistic program or not, it depends upon the state's perspective. And second, by developing certain criteria by the union, for devolution of more taxes to the states, then obviously the union is trying to keep the states under control. So the criteria which will be devised by the union will try to influence the states, and it tries to push its agenda on the states, which the states are worried. So in this context, what the article says is India is a diverse country, and that flexibility in utilizing the funds shall be given to the states themselves rather than center imposing onto them. This is the essence. Facing the future of development. Let me give you certain example to explain this. Today, mechanization of agriculture is being spoken about. Urbanization and industrialization are taken as way forward. Is this kind of model of development sustainable? And second, in this kind of model of development after 1991, inequalities have increased. Environmental destruction has happened remarkably. Second, it also has influenced access to resources. There is an unequal access to resources among the different social groups. And agriculture is the most neglected sector in India today. So, because of this neglect, in the future we are going to see a worst crisis related to food security. So, that's why in this article, the most important thing is various alternative models, examples were given, such as Kudumbashri, Mati, Kamir, Srujan, and then small sector or small scale industries based, SHG based developmental models. So these are being given over here. Try to go through them to quote as answers, to quote as examples in your answer. The next term, the cattle curbs. You know that previously the Union Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change, it has provided for certain curbs on the animal sales, cattle sales. In this context, it was criticized that Union is trying to influence eating habits of the people. So today, government has issued a fresh notice withdrawing the past thing. So in this context, the definition of animal market is changed, and then the monitoring committee was given just few responsibilities, and third, the slaughtering houses etc., that particular provision is being removed. Previously it was stated that the farmers who are buying that have to declare they are not using the animal for slaughtering. So these declarations etc. are being totally withdrawn. So this article says this withdrawal of ill-conceived restrictions on livestock trade is welcome, and this is particularly important for a country such as India, where the people have diverse food habits, and these diverse food habits are also intricately connected with caste hierarchy. Building India's talent base. You know, resources are limited, and with these limited resources, we shall be able to create maximum impact. So here comes the cost benefit analysis. How much you are spending and what is the outcome which you are receiving. So the skill development programs, skill missions in the states have different impacts. If you take Andhra Pradesh, this article clearly states investing in small and medium enterprises and strengthening the vocational educational institutions can create maximum impact for the quality of employment for rupee invested. On the other hand, if you go to Rajasthan, this may not work. So that's why state specific impact studies are very essential for the skill development models for the country. That is essence of this article is Indians can innovate. So many times it has been criticized that Indian education system is not too good for innovation. But I can clearly say that India's social system, diversity, that itself can be inspiration for innovation. So here, electric car Reva, Simtron, which was developed by Indian Institute of Science, these were much inventions before this particular mill is been sound is being created. So before Apple has come up, computer was very much appreciated across the world. And second, before Tesla, these are all manufacturing and marketing their electrical vehicles. Reva did that, and it has got lot of appreciation across the Europe. But Indian government did not provide for necessary holding hand for these domestic innovations. Unless government provides that, there will be no significant impact of the innovations at the ground level. Next is tightening grip. It is about elections in Hungary. Now, you know, across the Europe, right-wing political parties are gaining greater voice. And Mr. Viktor Orban, he has won for the third time in the Hungary and is an hyper-nationalist. So obviously, hyper-nationalists, they are against to the European Union, against to the immigration, and are against to provide for greater, free trade across the world. So the European Union project, human rights issues, immigration issues, all these are going to come to debate again. Aadhaar linkage will protect the people, UIDAI. So again, the argument, if you observe, the government is arguing that it is essential for the welfare of the people. It means it is essential for to promote the DPSP. On the other hand, the people argue it from the privacy perspective, and they say that it is essentially about freedoms of the individuals, human dignity and autonomy of the individual. So it is more and more turning as a debate between fundamental rights and DPSP. That is what is the progress which I am seeing over here. People must know how Parliament was held hostage. So we have discussed abundantly about this article. So whenever the Parliament was held hostage, it is the government in power that will become advantageous. And the Speaker did not allow for the no confidence motion. Opposition alleges that the government is not willing to answer the injustice done to Andhra Pradesh after division. So that's why it has used the Speaker's office to allow for this logjam to continue. And Speaker could have used her powers just to suspend these MPs, but she did not do that. And she has claimed this as a reason, lack of order as a reason not to allow for no confidence motion. So probably today the government has the majority. Tomorrow, if any government which is in power which do not have the majority can claim the same reason for the no confidence motion not to be passed, and if no confidence motion is not to be passed, if not passed, not discussed, then what is the legitimacy of the government is the greater question. It's CGI right to allot cases. We have seen already that the Chief Justice of India is the master of the roster. And again, it was clarified by the court that the CJI is the institution in himself and he can allot the cases to the various benches. Users own and control their data. Facebook chief Mark Zuckerberg has stated before the Senate of United States that the users they will decide how to use their particular data, and the Facebook's business model is targeting of various advertisements in a personalized manner to the users based on their likes and dislikes. So in a way he was apologetic, but again, the issue comes up to the privacy. Previously, we have seen in the case of Aadhaar, the issue was privacy vis-a-vis the government. Then what about the privacy vis-a-vis MNCs which are profit oriented? At least the government was arguing the privacy can be compromised for the welfare of the people. Now, the thing is much worse over here. Privacy need to be compromised for the profit of a multinational company which do not pay off in any way to the citizens of this particular country. Aramco to join India for $44 billion project. Now, the producers have increased. Oil prices have come down drastically. Now, with regard to the markets, there is a race. This year, Iraq has become the largest supplier of crude oil to India. And now, Saudi Arabia wants to diversify its economy. And it is also facing this particular slowdown because of decrease in oil prices. So, in this context, the Saudi Arabia is investing in various countries in refining. So what is the contract which is making is if Saudi Arabia need to be invested in the refining, then the crude oil contract has to be made with the Saudi Arabia. It is trying to diversify its crude oil supplies and also develop the market of its own for the future. A promise falls short. So this article is about transgender rights. Here we need to remember two judgments of the Supreme Court. One is Suresh Kaushal versus Union of India case and Nalsa versus Union of India case. In Suresh Kaushal versus Union of India case, it was clearly stated that the section 377 of Indian Penal Code that punishes unnatural sex is a punishable offence. So it has reversed the earlier judgment of the Delhi High Court. And Nalsa versus Union of India case, Supreme Court stated transgenders have to be recognized as a third gender and they have to be provided with necessary welfare benefits through reservations in public employment and educational institutions. But after 3 years of the judgment, if we observe, no state government has provided them with the reservations. No facilities are being created to change the name and the gender identity of these particular people. It means India has to evolve further to enlarge its rights framework, to consider its sexual minorities with compassion. Next is the rise and fall of bitcoins. So, bitcoins are cryptocurrencies, but they do not have a supportive value and they are not mediums of exchange. Because of this, their rise is short and the fall is quick. So, in this context, the bitcoins have brought in a new technology, that is blockchain technology, and this blockchain technology is going to guide future financial industry in the country. It is stated to be the most safe and secure technology. The Nirav Modi kind of incidents are not expected to happen through blockchain technology. Menaka ministry at odds over nutrient packets. So, what the Menaka Gandhi argues is we shall be able to give nutrient packets to the pregnant lactating mothers. And then, what their secretary argues is this. So, whatever the existing mechanism where SHGs cook for hot meals, and we can continue with that. What is the rationale in the secretary's argument? So, this is not just about the nutrition. In India, it is also about hunger. The nutritional supplements which minister is proposing for will not stop this particular hunger. So that's why he dismisses that idea of nutrient packets. Finally, I gave you the notes which will be available to you at laix.in/civilsprep. Please collect it from there. Thank you very much and all the best.